to be here today because I get the opportunity to share information about us having our finances in order, us living an abundant life. Because as you know, my favorite scripture, if there is such a thing as a favorite scripture, but the one I lean into is to be able to say, beloved, above all things, I would have you to be in good health and to prosper as your soul prospers. And that's really what my objective is for you today and for the rest of your life and generations to come for your family, is for you to be able to thrive. And when you thrive financially, I feel like you just are a little bit healthier. You smile more. You're able to spread joy around the world to other people. When you have your finances in order, you're able to give, to more people as well. And we want to be able to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to give to others and be able to have their life be the life that they truly desire. And since it says, the righteous actually should have their heart's desire, then why do we walk around as if we shouldn't be able to have abundance? Why do we actually walk with our head down and say, oh, I need to get my money in order? Oh, I'm broke, I'm busted, I'm disgusted. No, we got to change our language, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday. It is Friday in the house, and we are celebrating the abundance that God has for us. And whether you see it now already or it's coming very soon in the future, you get to be that person, embody that person right now. We always want you to be able to walk in that space where you may not actually have all the riches, but you can walk around with the spirit of abundance and know that you serve an abundant God, that you can have your heart's desires, that you can have what you ask for. As long as you're actually walking with him, it can show up beyond what you've imagined. So let's go ahead and talk about some more things in the financial space. I know recently, we were speaking about, just a high level about finances and many ways that you can create, this inheritance for yourself and for generations to come. But I want to show you how to protect and grow your inheritance today, because it's one thing to make a whole lot of money. It's one thing to have your finances actually grow for you, but it's another thing about having you protected, because it's not so much about what you make, it's about what you keep, right? Isn't that what we say? That we want to actually have our storehouse be full, that it's going to have overflow, that you can't say you're going to have a storehouse if everything's just pouring out. You don't want to be on a ship and it's got a bunch of holes in it, because if it's got a bunch of holes in it, what's going to happen eventually? It's going to sink. So we want to make sure we protect and serve and grow your inheritance effectively. So let me just give you some key tips of how you can have that happen. So first of all, we want to talk about a tool that we use, and it is called an IUL. And since it is still LIAM, which stands for Life Insurance Awareness Month, I wanted to stay in this conversation because it is the one month that we get to talk about it freely, of how insurance can be used, not just for death. We want you to use it for your life. We want you to use it for this time, this season, right now, while you're still here effectively. We want you to use insurance how the wealthy use it. They use it to create wealth, to be able to make big purchases. They use insurance to be able to send their children to college, and so many other things that we'll expound upon as we move forward with this conversation. So now, who is an IUL for? Well, first of all, it's for individuals who want life insurance protection and tax advantage savings. Does that sound okay for you? I know a lot of people out there may say, well, I already got life insurance on my job. That's great. One thing about it, though, you really don't have a life insurance policy of your own on your job. You actually have a certificate of insurance on your job. In other words, if your executives at your job go into the boardroom, decide to change the benefit package that you currently have, they're not going to tell you in the immediate. You probably won't find out until that next open enrollment season that they've made those changes. And at that time, if you're eligible for the benefits, you may be able to continue to have them. So is that what you really want? You want to put all of your family's livelihood, your legacy in the hands of other people inside of a boardroom? I should think not. So you want to make sure you have something that you own yourself. And that's the great thing about making sure that you have a benefit package, that you talk to a financial professional and make sure that you have something that you own, that you control, that you know what the benefits are, and that you have the documentation in your hand. And also you make sure you have it in that virtual safe deposit box that we've discussed so many times, because you want to have your things in hard copy, but you also want to back them up digitally. So now let's get back to who an IUL is really for. Well, I believe anybody that can actually qualify for one should have one. This is a way to diversify your portfolio considerably. It's a way for you to be able to protect your family in so many ways, as far as the life insurance portion, and that could cover you when you get sick, when you get hurt, and when you die. But also it gives you tax advantage savings also while you're still alive. So to be able to put in as much as you want inside of a plan and be able to have tax advantage savings where you could end up by the time you retire, or by the time of your goal of when you want to actually use this product, you could be at zero taxation. How does that sound to some of you? I know a lot of people that are probably watching are somewhere above, like the 12% tax bracket. Maybe you're making over $100,000 and you're in like a 22% tax bracket. It's like, Uncle Sam is, every time you make $1, there's a big chunk of that dollar being taken back to the government. And you don't even know who Uncle Sam is. I don't even know who came up with that whole concept of Uncle Sam, to tell the truth. But regardless, I know you don't want him to keep on dipping in your pocket, do you? So that's a great reason for you to take advantage of an IUL, because it allows you to be able to put funds away. And when you put them in, you've already been taxed on them from your job, right? Or from your current position or your business. So when you put the funds in, they've already been taxed once. So here's the deal. When you get ready to take them out, you're not going to be taxed again. So that's the reason why you can take advantage of the tax advantage savings, because when you pull the funds out, you're not taxed. When you actually pass away, your beneficiary is not taxed. So it really is tax advantage savings for you and your family, your business, your family foundation, any organization that would like to be able to take advantage of them. But we put them on an individual at a time. So again, IULs are ideal for people that are ages 25 to 55 usually. Now we can even write up people that are much older, all the way up to like 70 years old. We can actually get some people qualified. And with one of our carriers, they even said to age 80, we could actually help someone with an IUL. Now, of course, there are insurance costs involved in that. So the older you are, and if you have any health issues, it may be extra cost for that. But for the most part, it is an investment mindset. So you get what you're actually paying for, right? So we always want to make sure that we get it as young as possible, because this is the youngest and healthiest you'll ever be today for the most part. So we want to make sure that we look at, are you eligible for one of these? Because it is such a powerful tool. In fact, we call it like a Swiss Army knife. When you go camping or you go out, in the wild, you always want to have one of those Swiss Army knives in case you need to cut something, in case you need to actually chop something, in case you need to slice something. It has so many different uses. That's just the same with this actual service. Having an IUL literally could have you do so many things in the financial space. That's why it's one of the strongest tools that people use nowadays. And that's why they talk about them a lot online. You may have actually heard it, on some of the social media. You may have actually heard about it even on the news. But you want to make sure that you do meet with a seasoned financial professional that knows what they're doing before you take advantage of this option, to make sure that you're getting the highest amount of growth and you're able to meet your financial goals and be able to leave a legacy for your family. So like I said, they're ideal for people who are looking for flexibility and also long-term growth. So anybody that's looking for, to be able to grow their money, from now maybe until retirement, or maybe if you're doing it for a child, you're growing it now until they get ready to go to college, because these are great for, college funding. Or, maybe you're looking at, hey, I want to make this big purchase and I don't want to just pay the 20% on my house. I want to be able to pay my house off early and be able to pay it off in, 15 years, 10 years, or maybe even 5 years. This sort of product is a great way for you to start putting those funds aside now, while you're, waiting to make that large purchase. So you can purchase one for someone else as well. And that's a good thing that we always see people doing. Like, parents will get them for their children. That's our $1 Million Baby program. And we love being able to help them put that together so they know they're setting their child up to be a millionaire. A lot of us were not born with a silver spoon in our mouth. However, that doesn't mean that you can't start actually making sure that your child has a different way and has an edge in life using one of these products and services. Also, you can buy, grandparents. This is a great gift that you can give to your grandchild. Rather than just giving them toys or maybe even books, you could actually give something like this that isn't, a long-term investment for that child, to be able to really create a nest egg for them for the future. So a lot of people will also get them, in the business world as well, to make sure that someone is covered, as well as be able to use it for funding to be able to help that business move forward. Another key way that people have been using them and buying them for other people is in the real estate space. People have been getting these products and then they, build up the funds inside of it and they use it to buy real estate. And then once they actually purchase one piece of property, they use them, they use the actual payments, the rent that they're receiving or the mortgage payments that they're receiving to be able to go ahead and put the money back into the product. So now it's just constantly keeping a circular motion of funds going in and out, and they're getting a higher interest rate than if they were to just put that money in the bank. We all know that we've talked about, the fixed money inside of a bank, and we call it kind of like a flat line that you already know it's just kind of stay the same. In most banking systems, you're only earning like 0.01% or up to 0.6% in most banks. And even with your high yield banks or your money market accounts, you're still not gaining that much, usually like 4%, right? But with this sort of product, you could be somewhere between, either 5 up to 12%. So now your money is actually doubling at a much higher rate. So again, who is this actually for? Business owners. I love it, like we said, to be able to help your business grow. Now you don't have to ask the bank for business funding. You can fund yourself. You can go out here and be able to scale your business using this sort of product. A lot of business owners, they'll put aside a certain amount when they get started, and they start at one level. And as their business grows, they just keep on putting the funds in there to be able to take advantage of the tax savings, as well as to be able to help their overall revenue and the worth of their business. It's a really great way to be able to scale your business. Parents, like we said, use it for the $1 Million Baby program to be able to make sure that child has a better way of life than what a lot of us were given, and it's also a way for you to have that flexibility, because when you want to have a college fund, like a lot of people say, hey, I've got a 529. Okay, that's a great tax code to be able to, save for college. But one thing about the 529, there's restrictions, there's conditions as to where you can use it, which state you open it in is typically the state that they want your child to go to school. If they don't want to go to school, you basically have to ask for your money back, and you basically got to get approved to be able to, receive your funds in a lot of situations. So the flexibility that an IUL offers is a much better vehicle, because now even if your child decides not to go to school, what if they decide not to go to college at all? Well, with this product, it doesn't matter. You can pull the funds out to help them buy their first car. You can pull the funds out to pay for their wedding, or help them buy their first house. Or if they choose to make some, different decisions in their early, in their early adolescence, or even in their, their early time of being an adult, and they decide to go left on you and be like a prodigal child, you could still have this vehicle growing. And if you wanted to dip into it and take a vacation, parents, just to get away, it's okay, because you own the product, you bought it for them, and you can use it for what's needed as time goes on. And, when they basically come back to their senses, like most of our children do around the time they're, 25 or so, sometimes they'll realize like, hey, mom and dad did know what was going on. And hey, they were doing this for my best interest. When they come back around, you can have this sitting there to be able to help them move forward in life and be able to help them navigate financially more effectively. I really love using this product rather than just like a simple bank account. I know there's bank accounts out there where the parent can actually be on the account and then the child can be on there. I just feel like this is a smarter way to do things without making knee-jerk decisions. And also it doesn't give them like direct access to the account. If they need something, you can get to the funds very easily and then go ahead and transfer it to that bank account or that debit card, just to be able to offer yourself some extra controls of finances so they're not, squandered, basically. We also like doing the IULs for high income earners, because what are they looking for? Tax savings. So our high income earners, people who earn, over 6 figures, usually single people who don't have a lot of deductions already, they love being able to use this because maybe they're putting away the maximum amounts, from a Roth IRA. Maybe they're doing the whole, $7,000. If they're under 55, they're over 55, could put in up, $8,000 a year. Or if they're a couple, they can actually do, 5 figures a year together in a Roth IRA. Well, guess what? What if you want to actually put away more? This is a perfect vehicle to be able to do that. The other thing about it is a Roth IRA pretty much has your money locked up until you turn 59 and a half. But with an IUL, you could basically get this product this year and actually start taking funds out when you're ready to. So that flexibility that's made available to you immediately is really making it a very attractive product for a lot of people. So if you have a large deposit that you'd like to put in, we can actually figure out what amount of coverage that's going to give you and how we can make sure we maximize the growth inside of your product. However, if you want to be able to start, at a certain level and then continue to scale it, you could do that as well. People can start out with a one-time investment and then continue to actually put in more every month, quarterly, or even annually. Or you could actually just do an annual amount every year. You just know, like, I have a lot of single moms that we offer this product to, because why? At the beginning of the year, usually you're going to get some sort of, you're going to get a tax return, right? And in that tax return refund, you usually end up, using it for something that's needed in the home, or maybe you actually need a new car, or whatever the case is. But wouldn't it be nice if you put your funds away in something like this? So now you've made sure if something happens to you, you have protection in case you get sick or you get hurt, because you are the main breadwinner in that house as a single parent. So now if something happens to you and you need a caregiver, you need extra care inside of the hospital, or maybe you need some additions made to your home when you get out of the hospital, maybe from a major injury or sickness. Maybe you need skilled nursing when you come home, and you already know there isn't anything like that, especially if you're under 65, or even if you're over 65. That's not going to be long-term care that's paid for. So this benefit could pay you if you have any sort of, like major illness or accident, so you can actually still provide for you and your family. So this is a great tool that I love being able to talk to our single moms and our single dads out there, to be able to give you a backup, to give you a safety net in case the bottom falls out. You don't have to lose, your livelihood, or, actually have your children hurting, or, like squandering for funds while you're trying to get well. Another thing that this is perfect for, I love being able to use it for retirement income, because a lot of people think that, hey, I got a 401k on my job, a 403b, 457, whatever the case is. Well, this plan is a great supplement to all of those. Or it could be the give all, live all for a lot of people, because you could put enough away to be able to create the lifestyle that you really want in retirement. And the best thing about it, we can project it based on the indexes that we use and based on the numbers that we use, because it's not on the stock market. It's basically a safe way to be able to put your money away. So therefore, we can project ahead of time. If you put a certain amount in, we can show you exactly how much you could take out. So it's a much more secure way of being able to save for retirement versus some of the other options. And we want to be able to show people that, you can be in control of what your retirement is going to look like. We can project how much you're going to need based on inflation, based on your debts or your lack of debts, So there's a lot of factors that we put in when we're figuring out how much is needed on the other side in retirement. But the best part about it is that you're in control of it. And so if you ever want to put in more, if you want to actually, add to your account, you're always welcome to do so with the flexibility that's offered up to certain limits, as long as we don't, make it into a true investment. Remember, it is an insurance product that you can actually put money in to be able to have it grow. The other thing is, as far as wealth protection is concerned, a lot of people do this because they want to make sure that their children and their heirs don't actually experience a lot of estate taxes. So when someone passes away and they're wealthy, or they have something to actually leave behind, you don't want to leave behind that inheritance tax where you're paying like 4% on everything that your parents or your grandparents or whomever left behind for you. So this is a great way to be able to protect it, so you can make sure that you are receiving everything that they actually left behind for you, versus, again, having the Uncle Sam actually dip in where you could actually insulate your finances and your family's wealth for generations. So like one person could leave this behind, the next person gets one on them, and then they leave it behind, and it could just be, perpetually a great way for your family to keep the wealth inside of your family unit. So let's talk about breaking down, like we said, what is an actual IUL? Just going back and just simplifying it again. It's an Index Universal Life Insurance Policy, IUL. Real simple. That means it is doing what it is, mirroring and actually looking like the actual stock market. You're able to take advantage of the gains and not have to worry about the losses of the stock market. It gives you the protection to be able to make sure that you are, in case you do get sick or you get hurt, and when you die, you have protection, as well as if you live a very long time, it's also going to offer you the freedom to be able to receive income, and be able to take withdrawals from this plan to be able to pay, your bills, or to take nice trips and live a lifestyle that you really want. Now, it provides permanent life insurance with cash value, again, that grows based on the stock market index like the S&P 500, but your money's not directly invested in the market. So again, that allows you to have that protection that you want. That allows you to be able to make sure that, you're not going to have that, if someone else makes a decision, first thing in the morning, just looking at, if our administration actually says something in the morning, it can affect the stock market for the next, 2 weeks, 2 months, or, if the weather actually changes, or, just certain things actually happen in the market and your whole future could be affected. Well, you don't want that to be the case, especially when you're talking about you're moving closer to retirement, closer to the time that you can't work and you don't have a lot of time to be able to make up for that, make up for losses. So this is a great way, again, to be able to insulate yourself from losses, to be able to make sure that no matter what happens in the world, you are protected. Again, it offers the flexibility in premiums and also in your death benefits too. So there's ways that we can set it up that maybe now you're making a certain amount at your job, or making a certain amount in your business, and you only have, maybe $100, $200, $300 to put in on a monthly basis. That's fine. We can start there now. And then maybe you say, hey, but I'm going to get an actual advance or a bonus every year as I continue to climb in my business, or I'm going to get, a raise or whatever, right? So then you can say, okay, next year I want to actually put in, $200 rather than $100. And the following year, I want to move it up to $300. You could scale it how you choose to with your premiums. You also have the flexibility that you could, if you do get some lump sum, or if you actually want to increase the amounts, we could show you how much you can put in without having it turn into an investment. And then you have to worry about taxation and all that other stuff. So we help you avoid it becoming that, so you can avoid the actual, the unnecessary taxes. Again, this is meant for tax advantages. So it's our job to help you figure that out and let you know what those limits are, right? Also, you have the flexibility of the death benefits. So some people actually get this plan because they do want some extra death coverage. They do want to make sure that they leave that benefit behind for their family, maybe as income protection, mortgage protection, or maybe for the business and such. Well, but a lot of people say, no, I just really want to do this for the growth factor. So that in those cases, we'll make sure that we actually, put the numbers together accordingly. So you're using most of the funds that you put in for the growth and the accumulation portion of what we do. So we have that flexibility to help you figure out if you're doing this for growth, are you doing this for the death benefit, how long you're going to actually put the premiums in, and when you'd like to start taking the withdrawals out. So there's a lot of flexibility inside of this product that I truly enjoy putting them together for people and helping them figure out how they can be in control of their own finances and eventually become their own bank. So when should someone get an IUL? The sooner the better. Like we said, the younger and healthier individuals get better rates and more time for the cash value to grow. So if you've got children or young adults that, you're trying to figure out what to give them for Christmas, hey, how about actually give them this? On their next birthday, give them this. When they're getting married, definitely give them this. You want to make sure that you set them up to win financially. What better way to do that other than a product that is highly regulated? We work with A-rated carriers, and we also make sure that we're giving you the opportunity to be in control of your own finances. So it's great during working years to build tax-free retirement income as well. So you want to, again, start as early as possible. So even if your job offers you benefits, we're not saying not to take advantage of those benefits, but you always want to sit down with your financial professional and figure out how much should you be putting away on the job and how much should you be putting away in your own bank. So we want to make sure that we get those numbers right so you don't have any surprise parties when you get to that age of retirement. So where does the money go? Premiums go into the cash value account and they cover the cost of insurance. The cash value is linked to an index but has no downside risk due to a 0% floor and often a cap rate of 10 to 12%. Like we said, suggested, we can actually grow the money like the banks do. Now you're putting your money away like the wealthy do versus you actually getting just the crumbs if you put your money just in the bank, right? And so we want to make sure that we teach you how to be able to really have your funds grow. But also, like we talked about, we want to make sure that you protect it because, again, it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. So why choose it? Because it is a tax-free death benefit for your family. So you don't have to worry about estate taxes. When the family receives a death benefit, it's 100% tax-free and you could get millions of dollars back dollars as a death benefit, or you could do as little as like $50,000 as a death benefit. It's really your choice based on what your goals are. It's also a tax-deferred cash value growth. So we want to make sure that we take advantage of that with the tax-deferred cash value growth. And when you pull it out is tax-free loans. During retirement and when you're making big purchases, anytime you take the funds out, it is a tax-free loan that you're doing. And you don't have to pay that loan back if you choose not to. That's the great thing about it because, again, it's your bank. It's not, somebody else's bank. It's not U.S. Bank, Bank of America, or any other banks in the world. This is your actual bank. So if you choose to pay the loan back, great. If you don't, it's still okay. They'll make sure that when you pass away, that amount is actually, accounted for, but you don't have to worry about having to pay it back and have another bill over your head because you took a loan from your actual bank. So why choose an IUL? Because it's market-linked growth potential with the protection from losses. Again, you can use it for college funding, retirement, wealth transfer, so many ways it can be used. We believe that this is a great way for you to protect your inheritance. So if you have any questions, I really suggest that you get with your financial planner. They can help you evaluate your options and ensure the strategy is appropriate for your individual needs. Now, that is very important because everybody's situation is different. So we want to make sure that you customize your situation. Don't let anyone try to tell you just some blanket story of how this works. I know you see it all over social media. I know you see all the shorts, the reels, the stories about it, but you want to have a sit-down conversation and tell them specifically what's going on with you financially and figure out the best solution that's going to get you to where you really want to go. Because remember, this is about you actually moving like the Lord wants you to move, not just how the world wants you to. So we want to make sure that we help you do that as well. So I really hope that you got some good information this morning. I hope you learned something today about how you can be in control of your own bank and how you can use this option to be able to grow your inheritance as well as make sure you protect it for generations to come. Now, remember, join us later on today. We will be having a great session with Lights, Camera, Action. So excited about it at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, and 10 a.m. Pacific time. We look forward to seeing you today for Lights, Camera, Action to learn more about 4THEEBOC, for the body of Christ. We want to be able to show you how you can have a channel just like this to be able to tell people about what you're up to in the world as a marketplace minister, as a church, as an actual nonprofit, whatever you're up to. If it's good news, we'd love to be able to learn more about it. So our executives will actually meet with you and interview you and find out what you'd like to be able to share with the world to be a blessing. And when you receive a channel, the great thing about it is that you could have a show like this, or you could have other content that you're able to share, and people can watch it 24/7 on their devices, whether it be their telephone, their computer, their tablet, just all around the world. You can watch these wonderful shows where people are making a difference in the world. So it really does give us, a lot of, it gives us a lot of consolence to know that there is a international television network that allows you to be able to share the good news, watch the good news, and don't have to worry about what kind of content you're watching. So it's a great space for you, your children, your family, your church, your ministry, whatever you're up to. We want to be able to let people know that we exist. So please share my channel with people. We'll be back here every Monday and Friday at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, and 6 a.m. Pacific time. Kind of early for our Pacific time folks, but we definitely want to be able to share live information with you on Mondays and Fridays, first thing in the morning and also in the evening. And we also have so many other channels for people to be able to take advantage of and enjoy. And we want you to share with other people that you know that For the BOC is real. For the BOC is here for you. I hope you enjoyed yourself today. I hope you come back and join me. We'll be having a lot of other people coming and being our guest speakers, and some people in the financial space and even real life families we're looking forward to be able to talk to you about their finances and figure out how we can actually be a blessing to them, or if we've already been a blessing to them, how we can show you some of the testimonies that we've had over the years to be able to help people go from where they were to where they really wanted to be. So please come back and join us. Let somebody know, share this link with somebody out there for them to be a part of this mission, for us to actually live that abundant life that I believe the Lord really wants us to live. If God made it a promise, then it should be our mission to make it possible. So let's go ahead and just make that possible. Share it with somebody else. Let them know that there is an opportunity here for you to learn something that can actually take you and your family to the next level financially. You all have a blessed day, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.